Welcome to Liberate Your Life podcast, where we explore the art of holistic healing and personal transformation through Ayurveda and somatic practices. I'm your host, Melinda Fletcher, founder of Sattva Wellness Center, Ayurvedic practitioner, and somatic therapist. I'm here to guide you on a journey to harmonize your body, mind, and soul. Whether you're seeking emotional well-being, trauma recovery, or spiritual growth, this is your space to find balance and liberate your life. Hello, dear listeners, and welcome back to the Liberate Your Life podcast. I'm your host, Melinda Fletcher, and today we dive into a profound aspect of our journey, how our toughest moments are not detours, but vital parts of our spiritual evolution. We'll explore the idea that feeling lost, disconnected, or burdened might just be the universe's way of guiding us towards true liberation. Let's dive into this week's podcast episode, Breaking Free, the Power of Vulnerability on Liberate Your Life podcast. Recently, this subject has been really highlighted with clients, and it definitely is a ongoing theme around the way we feel in our lives, what's been presented through experiences and challenges, how we feel a sense of disconnection, lost, or really just derailed through these really challenging times. And then what happens is there's a moment where people, myself included, get to a place in our lives where we're like, that's it, like I give up, like there's got to be something different or more, or I know deep within that the glory of grace resides in me, and how do I reactivate that life? Or this is not my pain. That was one of my things around the trauma patterns that would just flood my system. I was like, this is not my pain. I'm done living through these pain filters. And so this is an ongoing theme with people around who we feel we are, the experiences that we're having, and when there's a moment of breakthrough is actually in that very moment when we release the grip and we have a deep moment of vulnerability. So I'm going to go into all of this in this podcast. So let's back up to how we feel in our skin, how we know ourselves to be. And this is through our personality, and that personality gets created and designed at a very young age. And when we talk about the egoic structure, the ego is not like this villain. This ego is not like this bad thing. The ego is this natural part of the infrastructure of our biology, our primal nature to survive. So we create these experiences and insights and contracts when we're very young, at a very young maturation in our emotional intelligence. We create these understanding and these filters of who we are and how the world sees us and how we're supposed to be in the world. And this begins very young. I have a 2-year-old, and it's amazing to be so present with his own becoming himself and his own egoic structure forming, and the ways that he's such a sponge, and he looks to mama and dada to be like, guide me, love me. He looks to his teachers and to his friends, and he learns what's okay and not okay, what's good and bad, what's right and wrong. And so when everyone is little, we are at this like fresh, beautiful space of looking out into the world and guide me, show me, and we create the reality that we all then grow up through our years, through school and teenagers and young adults. And what happens is we create a personality through all of these experiences. And that personality becomes who we think we are. And that's the way that we communicate, we learn from our parents. If we come from a family that's very involved in communication and unconditional love communication and emotional communication, we're going to be more versed in that. If we come from a family that you don't share your emotions and it's more sarcasm, that is probably going to be part of the way that we think is a normal way of communicating in the world. And so this personality develops, and that's part of the ego. And the ego is there to protect us. So when we're young and throughout life, there's things that are hard, right? I see my son fall off his bike, or I see him hurt himself, or different things where he's like, ooh, owie, the world is hurts. So don't do that and don't do that. So we create this way of being in the world that has allowed us to survive. However, some of those old ways are no longer serving us at this point, but they're so ingrained into our personality and who we think we are. It's so deeply programmed that it's like it's autopilot until we have some deep, deep moments that rattle us so deeply, that have us start to look at our personalities, or where are we blocked, or what have we rejected, forgotten, or hidden within ourselves, and how can we access more love, more compassion, more sweetness? How can we care for ourselves more intimately? So again, the journey of the ego is a really amazing tool to survive, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we are thriving in life with the ego. The ego will protect us and convince us that we need the assistance of the ego when we try to start breaking free and developing new ways of being in the world. It's like, oh, no, don't do that. Remember that person said that? Remember how painful that was? You don't want to do that. Oh, no, don't do that. Don't fall in love. Don't be vulnerable. Don't give yourself. Don't get up in front of people and talk. Remember that one time that you were in school and you tried to do that and everybody laughed at you? Or don't be so spontaneous and fun and free in your body. Remember that time that your mom said A, B, and C. So again, the ego is going to say, oh, no, wait. Let's stay right here in this confinement. Don't fully unleash. Don't be that bright, big, bold, and beautiful. So the ego, through our personality development, becomes who we think we are. And then nobody's getting through this life without challenges, without hard times, without hard moments, without hard days, without hard months, without hard years, without hard decades. So here's this next layer, is that all souls get what they need to evolve. And the universe doesn't pack it up in some beautiful little basket with little bows and bliss and like a picnic along a lake with sunsets. We absolutely get to have those moments. However, in order to get our attention and to access through the depths and the layers of our conditioning, our story, our beliefs, our pain, our ego, most often we get rattled and shooken so deep at the core through challenges, through heartbreak, through physical pain, emotional pain. And that is where the keys to our freedom and our spiritual growth and evolution lies. So next I want to dive into how understanding our struggles as a part of our evolution. And I want to introduce the concept of healing our karma, the idea that our struggles are opportunities for clearing past deaths and misalignments, facilitating our soul's awakening to higher conscious. So Healing our karma. I say we have to heal our karma to live our dharma. So when we heal our karma, we get to be aligned with our deepest purpose and meaning, which really sets us in the groove of our dharma, being in service in our highest good. So karma. Karma is what we come into this life to learn, what we bring from past lives. What is this life about? What are the lessons to evolve the soul for ultimate freedom? So we came back to be embodied, and within the body is actually where we feel the pain and the challenges and the suffering, the heartbreak, the we're born and then we die, right? So there's, and in between that is just this journey to wake us up and wake us up and wake us up and wake us up to the truth of our being. Can we live in this embodiment, awake consciousness before we're on our way out? Can we really live and breathe the true freedom and joy that resides within all of us? So healing our karma is part of what these really challenging times bring to us. They give us this core shaking, have our attention. What is this all about? To get through those barriers and get through those layers of the ego. And healing our karma then releases and burns off these karmic contracts that were made so that we can evolve into these higher realms of consciousness. And our karma is, we kind of say that we're like 1/3 of that. So like 1/3 is my karma, 1/3 is someone else's karma, and then the other third is the environment's karma. And so all of it is moving together at the same time. So sometimes we're like, really, why? What did I ever do? Why is this happening to me? We can't always understand the level of which the divine guidance is guiding this whole story that we are in. However, when we really like relax and trust into this like bigger power and this spiritual guidance, we just put it at the feet of God. And when I say that, that's this like surrendering motion of, even if I might not understand this, I trust and know that there is a bigger guiding force and that I am here as a humble servant. I say, universe, I am on your team and you work in wild, wild ways, but I'm in. And I love you and I love me. And I'm going to take the time to sit with the most kooky, crazy, wild, hard, painful moments and be like, what? Take radical acceptance, radical responsibility. What can I learn with this? What do I need to see through this? How am I evolving? How am I changing? How am I transforming? How am I not aligned in my life? What can I look at? What can I face? What can I integrate? How can I become a better version, a higher version, a more in tuned, a more loving, compassionate, understanding, free soul through the hardest moments of my life? And for me, the hardest moments of my life have been the going actually through them have been the most freeing, the most like jaw opening, like, wow, life, you are such a miracle, magical, fluid, crazy, wild, moving force of energy. And I just got shredded and have come out the other side with more access to greater expansive love and joy, like real joy. Not my personality ego joy that was covering up a lot of pain, but like real joy with a lot of energy behind it. So again, trusting a bigger guidance in those moments where we are like fudge this. This is so freaking intense. This is going to break me. I don't want to be here anymore. And if you look at most of the stories of some great teachers that have started movements and centers and have been the leaders in meditation and spiritual development and personal growth, when you read their stories, they were trying and trying and trying. And the moment they finally were on their knees, sobbing and being like, I give up. Some of those were on the brink of suicide. Like, I give up. And that moment, grace comes through and is like, finally, you give up. Here is a window into reality. Here is a window into your true essence. Here is what you truly are. This is when some of the greatest awakenings happen, is when the ego actually lets go of the grip. Because while we're trying, I'm going to meditate. I'm going to be a spiritual teacher. I'm going to. Personal will, a lot of that is coming from the ego. As soon as we are just humbled and crumbled and vulnerable and on our knees and praying, we've released the grip of the ego and we are so deeply vulnerable. The power of vulnerability is a letting go of the intense armor and infrastructure that we have promised we were going to protect our hearts long ago. So we release the grip of the ego and we are flooded with the love and grace that has always been there and will always be there. And what we see and feel and experiences in those moments of deep vulnerability, we cannot unsee what we've seen. And they will continue to guide our way and evolve and evolve and evolve. So when that happens, there's this like, what was that? Oh, I always knew within me. Oh, what is that? We start to reclaim that which we have rejected, hidden, forgotten, denied. We begin to dive into personal growth, spiritual evolution, spiritual growth. By the way, we're always evolving. There is no moment the same. We are always evolving. We are never stuck. We can feel stuck, but we are never stuck. There is never the same moment. Even if we're not conscious to what is evolving, it's magical what is really going on within and around us. So once there's that moment of vulnerability and we're flooded with the grace and the truth and we see parts of our life, we weep when we feel and see how much we've protected our hearts and how much love flows through us in these moments of vulnerability. And then it starts to rearrange our life. Again, I say we can't unsee what we've seen. So then it starts like, we want to have different routines. We get more drawn to spiritual practices. We don't want it noisy. We want more solo time. Certain relationships with friends don't quite align because it feels like toxic. So we start to see where the toxicity has built up, what has been so busy and loud and noisy, because we start really getting attracted and really following these threads of grace, these threads of truth, these threads of freedom and happiness. And we're like, wow, it's available. And the journey is long. There is no dark night of the soul. It's not a night. It's like days, it's years, it's decades, and it comes and it goes and it comes and it goes, because there's this constant, like, when we have these moments, layers peel off, like, and then we start getting into some of that denser terrain where the ego's like, no, hold on, you need me, hold on, wait, you need me. No, remember. And it's so patterned in our system that it's like, we're like, oh, it's really a lot of work. And it's time, and it is deep, and it is hard, and it is, yes. And you transform and you transform and you transform. And the ego is going to come in and try to convince you and try to persuade you. Remember, we have been together for so long. And you're like, okay, ego, I love you. Thank you. But I think I got this. I think I'm going to really go inward and I'm going to listen and I'm going to cry and I'm going to release the grief and I'm going to release the pain and the heartbreak. And I'm going to practice a high level of compassion for those in my life that have been a part of that deep pain journey. I'm going to be compassionate and see that their soul is on a journey and that soul is on a healing journey and that young child did not get what they needed and that infrastructure got built and then they act in these ways and their pain comes out in these ways and then our pain together locked in and played this part. But wow, look at the freedom and the feelings and the connections that I'm connecting with now because of those hardest moments. If I didn't have my hardest moments that, oh my God, I feel like I have walked through hell a number of times, I would not sit here and feel as full of joy and as quiet as I do in this embodiment. And my life would not look this way. So I am so in gratitude of the hardest, most painful moments where you think like, I can't take anymore. And that is the breakthrough. So breaking free, the power of vulnerability. The vulnerability is, what does that mean? Like to be vulnerable. It's like to be intimate and to be seen and to be witnessed and to show what we have been taught are our weaknesses. But again, those weaknesses are like somebody denied us. Somebody said, that's not good. Somebody said, oh, you have to be tough. Somebody said, oh, don't show that part. That's unacceptable. Oh, what are they going to think if they see that? So go back, sit with your little person, sit with your young version. And what were the things that we constantly were told to like, oh, don't do that. Oh, don't show that. Oh, that's unacceptable. Oh, don't be like that. Oh, ... The list goes on. And go, oh, wow. So this was a story that got created long ago where I thought that I needed to be perfect or good in these ways and that I couldn't show those things. And yet when we have those moments of vulnerability, we get to go into some of those karmic contracts that we make and we get to start to get intimate with those parts of ourselves that got really buried in the infrastructure. And this is the thing with becoming conscious. So consciousness means that we're bringing what's unconscious back into the light to be illuminated so we can reclaim all of what we are, and so that we don't have to move through life with all the filters and all the layers of, I'm supposed to be like this. I'm not supposed to be like this. I'm allowed to do this. I'm not allowed to do this. Oh, I should do this. I should do that. I can be like this. I'm not supposed to be like this. Oh my God. It can actually be really quiet and you just get to be free to be you. And then when those things come in, because they come in, you can be really conscious versus living through them unconsciously and being dragged around by them. So then you can be like, oh, wow, I had this experience. I said this, they said this. Oh, let me explore this. Let me get curious. Oh, that was slightly tender. What was the theme? Is it them? And I had something recently and I was like, oh, and it was like festering in my system. And I'm realizing that underneath it, it's me. And I was like, oh, wow, I realized that I wish I had handled that better. I wish I had communicated better. Oh, I'm not perfect. Ha, ha, ha. I didn't do it right. And it felt uncomfortable. And okay, so I felt uncomfortable and then it cleared. And most often the stories we create about what somebody else is thinking or what we did right or wrong, the story is the story, and the reality that's flowing is like much different than we created in our mind, yet we just programmed our whole body to have these sensations and these reactions to the story that we were playing out. Anyways, so breaking free the power of vulnerability. when we get to know our personality and our ego, when we get intimate with how that got created, what is it protecting? When we can dive into what it has been protecting for decades and decades and decades, it starts to reveal the keys to our freedom, where we're like, in there is the healing karmic journey to reclaim our wholeness, to live our authenticity, to not live through the filters and the pain bodies of long time ago. Okay, that was a deep dive, everyone. Thank you for hanging with me through it. Let's go into some tools around working with the ego and the pieces of vulnerability. So obviously I'm going to talk about meditation. Meditation isn't always like the best place to start. However, for people that are more familiar with a meditation practice, like dive into that, because that really helps us to get a direct experience with the fact that we are not our thoughts. What are our thoughts? What are reoccurring thoughts? What are the stories that we're continuously playing out? And then how can we really cultivate this like deep space within that is just filled with grace and ease and flow and love and compassion. So meditation is always like a true practice to have a direct experience with your inner divine nature, your true nature, and then to be able to cultivate a field to witness the thoughts that are running our lives and start to really unhook those through our system. So meditation. Another thing is really working with your inner child. So I spent a lot of time getting really intimate with my little girl, and in like the most intimate times, I really would take time to sit and dialogue with her, because I was really getting to know when she was present, when she was starting to be in the front seat and running my life. That's when I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm acting this way. And I'm like, oh, my little girl. Oh, let's start to communicate with my little girl. What does she need? What is she saying? What is she not getting? We cannot go back in past, but I can really dialogue with her now and let her know that she is being seen, that I hear her, that I'm going to hold her hand and we're going to walk through these very uncomfortable things together. But on the other side of that is like this true freedom, and that we gain trust with each other. And I really recognize when she starts to want to step in and drag me around and have a temper tantrum and an emotional episode that is very old. And so how can I catch that? How can I reach down and hold her hand? And then I really asked her questions about like, what didn't she get? One of my things was my hair, and I still don't brush it, but my hair was always wild. Like my mom raised us on her own. And, I never got to be like that little girl that my mom would brush my hair and put my hair into braids and cute little clips. I was just always this like wild little hippie girl with crazy hair. I love it now. It's such a dear part of just me. But that was like a thing. I was like, I didn't get to be that little girl. And so I spent some time just listening to like these beautiful little stories of my little girl, and just like having so much compassion around her journey. And she was so brave, and she led me through so much at such a young age. And I really get to let her, I'm like, you get to go play and you get to relax. Like, I got this, I got us. So really diving in and doing some really deep work with our inner child, and really recognizing when they get in the front seat and start driving our bus, so that we can go, oh, there's my little one. My little one is feeling unsafe, uncomfortable, unseen, unheard, and is trying to like run the show. And here the adult wise self can go, hey, why don't we just sit together and have a moment and breathe and like, let's talk about this. Inner child work, meditation, journaling. Journaling is great. It's just a beautiful, safe space to explore the thoughts and reflect and tell stories that is just for you. So really having like a safe, trusting outlet to share that which we think is so ugly or so bad or so horrible or so scary within us, and really start to give it a voice and release it. One of the things that I do in our lovely modern time is I have, voice messages on my phone. And in some moments, I've really gone to my voice messages and just rambled on to just free it in the moment, because I couldn't even get to a pen and paper and write down as fast as I was really reflecting. So sometimes just speaking, and then I can go back and listen and be like, wow, that was really powerful. Journaling, meditation, inner child work, and sleep. Oh, wow. Sleep routine is your saving grace. So nervous system regulation needs incredible sleep to balance our daylight activity, to de-stress, to recalibrate. We do a lot of healing work when we're sleeping. So really focusing on making sure that you're having time to rest and to integrate this deep work. Another thing is really listening to activities, planned activities, socializing. So when we're doing this deep dive solo work really too, it takes a lot of energy, and we don't always feel like we want to be out in the world with people in busier situations and talking. So really honoring the deep dive, the deep healing, and the solo time that is needed, and to really kind of clear out the stories around I should be. It's like, actually, I really want to connect and go inward. And the inward is a solo, inner, beautiful dive journey, and so deeply healing and so deeply transformative. And I have spent months and months and months, and at time years, just really being solo out in the mountains, solo on my walks, solo in my meals, solo in my prayers, to really navigate this healing time. So those are some tools to support you in the time of deep vulnerability, breakthroughs, soul work, and transformation and ultimate liberation. Wow. Thank you for joining me today on Liberate Your Life. It's been a transformative session discussing how embracing our vulnerabilities allows us to break free from the ego and connect with our true essence. Remember, the universe conspires in love, and in our most vulnerable moments, grace shines through. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep opening your heart to the infinite love that surrounds us. I'm Melinda Fletcher again, host of Liberate Your Life podcast. You can connect with me on Instagram at Sattva Wellness Center. Sattva is spelled Sattva, or head to my website, sattvawellnesscenter.com, and check out my beautiful offerings, and I will connect with you down the path.